The former Transnet board chair, Mafika Mkwanazi, back at the Zondo Commission today, and he is continuing his testimony regarding the firing and then rehiring, you'll remember, of the former chief executive, Siyabonga Gama. It has been fairly entertaining, as Michael Appel is going to tell us. He's following it for us today, and he's being pressed about the reinstatement of Siyabonga Gama, and that questioning has been terrier-like and very interrogative.
Yes, it has. Logic dictates that if the CEO of Transnet Freight and Rail is found guilty of 3 serious charges of misconduct, that the board shouldn't be actively involved in trying to get him reinstated. So when he is suspended in 2009, he's finally fired in June 2010. By February 2011, miraculously, he is back in his position. He gets back pay of millions. Transnet agrees to pay 75% of his legal costs, in which an open, independent process, paid for by the taxpayer, by the way, found him guilty, and then agrees to pay him all the money back over the time he was suspended. He gets a final written warning before he comes back. That 6 months had already lapsed in the time he wasn't there, so it was a slap on the wrist and meant absolutely nothing. And the Deputy Chief Justice, understandably, quite enraged by this. Listen in.
Mr. Gama has a poor case. They say Mr. Gama has no reasonable prospects of winning this case against Transnet. Having got those 3 opinions from 3 different law firms, we have one of the law firms which gave one of those opinions, saying in this legal advice, there is probability. They are coming up with something that seems to go against what they have already said. And what they are saying is not persuasive this time around. It's not substantiated. Let us stick with the position given by 3 different law firms, namely, we have a good case and Mr. Gama has a poor case. We have good chances of winning. Let us make our decision based on that. Why didn't you and your board take that position?
So millions then would be spent on this entire Gama scandal. Who then was pushing for the reinstatement?
So it's interesting. So as I've mentioned, an internal disciplinary finds him guilty. He then, Siyabonga Gama, who was a special advisor to the then Public Enterprises Minister Malusi Gigaba, gets on the phone to Mr. Mkwanazi and says, review that decision. There are other people who have had similar infractions that have gotten away with less and less of a sanction. Review that decision. So the question is he forcing you to reinstate, or what does review mean? Clearly they want him reinstated. So was there an ulterior motive in the board going to 3 different law firms, getting legal counsel saying your case against the man is very strong? They disregard all of that to put him back in his position, and he would ultimately ascend to an even higher position than he was as Group CEO. This once again caused a lot of consternation. Listen in.
So why didn't you say Mr. Gama has an independent and fair forum at which he can put his case? Let him put his case there, and we will abide by whatever decision. Why didn't you and your board take that principled position and say we are not going to interfere?
That's the Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, ending that report by Michael Appel.